time. It is time, everybody. Man, what a day, what a day. But we gonna make it happen. Whew. Out there is clapped. The markets are clapped. All right. Team, family, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome to the Day Trading Degens Market Recap. I am your host, Charles Becco, and I am joined by the lovely Megan. No, not Megan Thee Stallion. Megan, the Certified Financial Planner and Tax Professional, resident analyst here at Brooklyn Traders. Megan, please introduce yourself to the crowd.
Heyo. So I think you did pretty good. I am Megan, Certified Financial Planner and Enrolled Agent on the tax side, and member of Brooklyn Traders. Happy to be here with you and break down the market recap from today. Another red day, and while some people are probably sad, I'm rubbing my hands together like a
Megan, I think you're trapped in the Matrix. Oh no. Megan, just let me know. Just tap in when your sound is back. But yeah, team, it was crazy today. In the market. Let me get the room up again. Welcome to the Day Trading Degens Club. My name is Charles Becco, former financial advisor, MBA, yada yada yada, veteran trader, yada yada yada. Right. So everybody wants to know, right? When is it safe to come outside and buy these dips, right? And so let me go ahead and get the room ready for y'all, okay? I want to get the link. We're streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, and I'm going to get the link up so that you guys could join. In the short answer to the question, right, when can we buy the dip? The short answer is soon, right? I thought we were going to try to make a move today. It did not happen the way that I was looking for it to happen. Unfortunately, the market has, a notorious history of not doing what you want it to do, but just basically doing what it wants to do. And so we don't want to fight the market, right? We do not want to fight the market. I did pin the link there. Okay, so that is up and there. When can we buy the dip in the stock market? It is there. Let me go live on the page, and we're going to take a look at the Qs here. And I'm telling y'all, the Qs is looking mighty ghetto right here. I got to tell you, the Qs running wild up in the streets. Okay, but it's okay. Have no fear. Okay. All right, Megan, are you good? Is your mic back?
I don't know. Does it sound good?
Oh yeah, you're good. You're good.
All right, cool.
Okay, cool.
Here.
All right. So what's going on here, right? So a couple of things, right? So here's what happened this week, right? We went through the weekly 50 like butter. Like we literally, like, so just to give you an idea of how crazy it is, during the pandemic, right? The week that we went and touched the daily 50, the same week, we bounced in the market on that week, and then we did carry the bounce through the next week, right? Now the next week, the bounce didn't last, right? But at least the week that we kind of, went down, touched the daily 50, we got a nice little bounce the end of that week. And we did get a little bounce that carried over the previous week during, again, the pandemic, right? Which is all the way back here, right? Look at us here this week, right? We have not touched that weekly 50, okay? What am I talking about? I'm talking about the weekly simple moving average on the QQQ, okay? So this is us all the way up here. We just went up, down, and we went right under that weekly 50 like it wasn't even there. That was right there at around 358, okay? we did try to bounce, right? There was a bounce attempt today where we kind of went down to 355, we bounced to 362, and the market said not happening, right? And the rest is history, right? So if we're through the weekly 50 on the Qs, right? What else is there, right? There's actually the weekly 55, right? So it's the 50, the 55, and the 89. We're well under the daily 200 on the Qs. Again, we kind of went through that like it wasn't even there. Okay. Again, the simple moving average for the 200 on the Qs was right there at around 365. Now, we are at a support level here, right around 351, 352. And for me, even if we kind of penetrate under, let me kind of move this here. So I'm realizing that you can't. I see that we have some graphics up there, so you can't really see it that well. Yeah, I do realize that even though we could kind of go through a support level, it doesn't mean that we have to kind of stay there. Sometimes the markets it breaks, it tests, it probes, and then you get a bounce. Towards the end of the day today, we did attempt to kind of bounce off of that level here. Right, like when it was like last 15-20 minutes, we did get a bounce back up to 355, 354, which is another support level. But unfortunately, that failed again, right? And so, team, I'm not gonna hold any punches, right? This is an ugly close, right? And so, if we don't get a support level here, right, the next support level on the QQQ is gonna be somewhere way down in the 330s, 320s, right? And so that is not a nice situation. Okay. Let's talk about things that maybe not as bad, right? Let's take a look at Apple real quick. Relatively speaking, right? Comparison to the rest of the Qs, Apple is not too bad here. Not terrible, right? We are under the daily 50, right? But we're nowhere near our 200. And the Apple's weekly 21 is actually sitting right there at 160, right? And so, again, relatively speaking, Apple in comparison to the rest of the Qs, and Apple is like a very large component of the QQQ. It's actually holding up pretty well. Okay, other names not so much. Here's Amazon down 6%. I mean, yeah, Amazon is responsible for a lot of the carnage we've seen today. Absolutely. Okay, so here's Amazon. Let's look at Tesla real quick. And again, right, it's not, you can't just call it like the FANG, right? It's no longer the FANG. It's like the FANG MT. So it's Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google, Microsoft, and Tesla, right? And so, yeah, look at Tesla here, down 6% today. Okay. Let's look at I think Microsoft and Apple probably held up the best today. Yeah. Microsoft here. And in this even here with Microsoft at 296, it is close to a daily support level and actually not terribly far away from its weekly 50 as well. So long story short, I do believe that we will reach a support level. Megan, could you please give us a reset, because I need to pull up some other charts to talk about with the crowd. Thank you.
Absolutely. So we are in the day trade and Dejan's room. If you have not already, click the greenhouse above and subscribe or follow. So anytime we do a pop-up room, you can be here. While Charles is pulling that up, did you all see Netflix today? I hope you grabbed some puts on that. That was crazy, like 21% or something like that negative. So there can be money to be made in these red Cs, but if you are not experienced in what you're doing or you don't know how to get the puts or different things like that, make sure you just sit on the sidelines and watch and learn. Study the chart, study the price movement in correlation to other things, because someday it'll kind of click and it'll make sense to make money both ways. Charles, back to you.
All right. I do want to talk about one of the more interesting charts of the day, and it would have been a very simple way for us to make some money today, but it did not happen, unfortunately, and I was really upset because I really had my heart set on this chart, but it just did not work. Well, what happened to this chart? Oh, this thing changed to the QQQ. Okay, give me 1 second here. Let me just kind of fix this. What I wanted to show you was Coinbase, right? So despite the news that was on Coinbase, right? Coinbase gave a fantastic opportunity to make some money right at market open, right? And I do want to show you that to you folks today. Give me 1 second while I just see that's coin. I think this is it. Yep, this is it here. And there it is. Okay, cool. So right at market open, right? The 205 put. Okay, let me just kind of. Yeah, so Coinbase opened up at around 209, right? And it just went straight down. While Coinbase went straight down like that, the 205 put option went straight up. This thing, team, opened up at 91 cents. That's $91 today. And in, let's see, how many minutes is this? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. In less than an hour, this option went from 90 cents or $90 to $1,700 in less than an hour. And I'm kind of upset with myself today because I had 2 plans that I wanted to do. I executed half my plan, did not execute the other half. My first half of the plan was to run a strangle on the QQQ because I had no idea which way Qs were going to go, right? So my puts were way in the money. My calls were kind of getting beat up, but put them together, you know, I was still up on the straddle. And so that worked out fantastic. My other plan was to kind of just throw out a YOLO out of the money on Coinbase. And this, I absolutely would have targeted the 205. I had it in mind to buy this. But I just got so caught up with the QQQ that I just totally miffed my mind to think about Coinbase. By the time I looked at Coinbase, this option that I wanted was already like, it was already like $900. And I sat there in tears, not actual tears, right? Symbolic tears. Just watching this thing go from $900 to $1,700. Again, this option opened up, team, at around, well, it says 64 cents, but I really think it's closer to 90. And even, again, within the first couple minutes is at $1.50, right? And so, yeah, with not a whole lot of money, okay? With not a whole lot of money, okay? You could absolutely make the bag, even in this kind of a market, right? And so, let me go back to the Qs here. Okay. Yeah, overall on the Qs, right? We gotta hold this 350 area, and but because if we don't, we're gonna open ourselves to a lot more pain, a lot more pain to the downside, right? And so, right around 350 is a nice support area there. Nice round numbers. The market tends to like that. So, yeah, I can't say it's the last line in the sand, but it is pretty darn important. I believe we're also sitting on the weekly 50 as well. I don't have it on this particular chart, but I believe the weekly 50 is right there, right around these levels. And so I do expect some kind of a bounce sometime next week. But once we get that bounce, I do not believe it'll be time to back up the truck, you know, because I think the overall structure of the QQQ is very much in trouble. Okay. Megan, could we please give another reset, and we'll move on to individual tickers. If you guys have tickers you would like for me to take a look at, please send them to Megan. Megan, mic's on you.
Yeah, so the other thing I was going to say is the Qs on the weekly, the 8 is just kissing the 21 EMA. So I'm kind of watching to see if that's going to bounce or cross down. To me, it still looks bearish. But anyways, yeah, so day trading Dejan's room, thank you for popping in on a Friday night. If you want to follow the charts, you can click the YouTube link above our heads. Make sure you subscribe if you are in there. If you have any tickers you want us to look at in particular, go ahead and send that to me on the back channel. Otherwise, Charles, back to you. Let's get some tickers broken down.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so just give me a second. Let me just take a gander at the YouTube there. Just want to make sure. Sometimes I forget to look, and then there's like 10 tickers there. Let me just kind of make sure I just pull that up. And let me mute this.
On the back channel?
Yeah, let me just make sure. Okay. Yeah, I do see one there. Give me 1 second. Just want to make sure. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I got that. Okay, so the first ticker tonight will be Airbnb. Let me just kind of pull the stream back up so we can take a look at it. All right. Let's look at Airbnb.
It's an interesting one. It's really been holding this 200 EMA on the weekly.
Okay. Let me get another chart here, because this is not the chart I would like to use to look at this. Wait, why do these charts look the same? Okay, I'm just gonna have to use this over here. Give me 1 second. Give me a second, team. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, Airbnb is kind of bouncing off of that 23% Fibonacci level, and yeah, it seems to be holding here, right? So the kind of pattern that Airbnb has, this is actually what you want to see from the Qs, right? You want to start seeing you're going from like a phase 4, which is just pretty much a straight down, which is what we're still in on the Qs and SPY, and you want to start like kind of moving sideways, right? And so Airbnb, the fact that this thing is down less than 1% today is actually very good, and the fact that we're respecting this fib level here at 152.12, that is fantastic, right? And so on a name like this, right, if you wanted to start taking little nibbles, right, at a position, that would not be so bad at all, okay? As long as that support level holds. Go ahead, Megan.
Yeah, I was going to say the other thing, if you're not super sure and you're a little bit risk adverse, potentially just selling premium might be a way to do it as well.
Yep. And just specify. I'm assuming that if you're going long, you'll be selling put credit spreads, and if you're thinking about going short, it'll be call credit spreads. Correct, Megan?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, very good. I just wanted to make sure that that's clear for the crowd. All right, so that is Airbnb. I'll actually throw a ticker in there. Uber. Okay, so Uber's been in this trading channel here between 33 and 46. Okay, although we did have a squeeze fire down here today. Okay, Uber was actually bouncing at one point. It was towards the end of the market where Uber kind of like went with the rest of the market, but there's a nice little support level there, right there at around 35, right? And so we're pretty close to the bottom. I started taking some nibbles at some far dated out options. I also started adding some more shares, and so again, we're close to the bottom of this trading channel for Uber. I like the valuation of Uber anyway, and so I added a position here. But again, team, this is what you want to see, right? You want to see something in a trading channel going down and holding support. That's what you want to see. So that's Uber. I want to take a look at Procter and Gamble here. Procter and Gamble, again, this is a ticker that we've been talking about, and folk, look at what's happening here, right? The market is going haywire, and Procter and Gamble is green, right? Again, there's going to be a float to value, right? Away from tech, right, and into value names. Value names are going to be very defensive in a market such as this, right? So that's Procter and Gamble. Let's take a look at Walmart real quick.
While you pull that up, Charles, I know this is not sexy, but I've been waiting for a weekly squeeze on Kellogg to fire.
Hey, Kellogg.
Like
Listen.
And I missed it.
Listen, we're gonna take a look at Kellogg here, but again, you see Walmart here again. Team, these names are just like Megan said, right? They're not sexy, right? They're not sexy, but look at Walmart here. Down 0.75% on a day like today, right? When tech is getting clapped, kind of in the middle of the range of the trading channel here. But again, these are names that you kind of want to look at for some areas of strength. Let's look at XLU here. Okay, XLU finished flat on the day. In fact, today was a huge volume day, which lets me know, okay, since we finished flat on a huge volume day, that I believe some people are buying the dip on XLU here, right? So XLU, the ETF for the utility sectors, right? And team, we talked about this, right? These are some of the names that we talked about in the past, right? XLU, some names, again, in a market like this where you could be a little bit more defensive. XLE didn't fare as good, okay, but I like to see that we form a doji at the bottom of a descending triangle here, and so yeah, XLE, again down 2%, but again a name that we definitely want to keep a watch on. You know, oil has been on fire, so you know, just some profit taken there, it seems like, on XLE. Let's look at XLV, healthcare sector. Okay, down 1%. Look at this. Look at where we are, team, okay? We're giving you some potential dip buy ideas, not financial advice, okay? But look at where we are on XLV, okay? Team, you know, they say past performance is not indicative of future results, but there's also the trend, right? So typically when we come down to the bottom of this channel, right around the 128, 127 handle, we like to bounce from these levels, right? So again, XLV healthcare is going to be very, very defensive in any kind of market, period. Okay, because we always need healthcare, and with the pandemic at our heels, a lot of these healthcare stocks will do well. Megan, I seen your mic off. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, for those that didn't know, the XLV, but you did mention it, is the healthcare sector. So for those of you that don't know about sectors, absolutely do some research over the weekend. And there's a great screen, I think, on FinViz where you can see by sector where things are going. So sometimes when I'm looking at my plays and what direction I want to go, I'll first see what sectors are doing well for that day or that week. And then once you dive into the sector, then you can break it down further into specific stocks. But XLV is sitting right at the daily 200, so I want to see if it holds that or if it breaks through like some of the other things have done. If it holds, that's a really good dip buy. I did talk to a financial analyst at 8 on my team, and they were talking that, you know, with inflation and where they see things going with rates raising and different things, they are going to be looking at small cap value. So I will be looking at that as well. I'm not saying that's where I'm going to go, but just kind of researching it a bit further with the upcoming environment. In reviewing past, like you said, past performance is not indicative of the future. But if we go back to high inflationary environments, say maybe 80 years ago, looking at that area, what things did well then. So I'll be researching small cap value in response to my CFA's research.
Wonderful, wonderful. Again, Megan, I really appreciate you. I really appreciate the value that you bring here. Team, it is invaluable to have a financial professional on the stage, okay, who got degrees, got certified, did the test, and got licensed to talk about financial products, okay? Again, and the reason why I mention that, right, is because there's a lot of misinformation out there, okay? And so, you know, it's not a whole lot of razzle-dazzle. I know sometimes, you know, we get a little spicy on here, but you're going to get some really good information here on this stage, okay? So I just want to give you your flowers, Megan. On behalf of all the communities, the share communities, we really do appreciate you. Thank you for volunteering and spending your time here, okay? So, again,
of course.
Yep. Yep. Again, so yeah, that's XLV. Okay. So we covered Apple, XLV, Did we? Oh, let's do XLP, right? XLP, right? That's gonna be consumer staples. Look at XLP here, green in the market like this. Look at XLP here. Okay. And look, crazy MACD cross down. This thing is not going anywhere. Okay. Consumer staples. Okay. These areas are going to be very defensive in a market like this, right? When things are getting smacked around, right? As opposed to putting your entire portfolio in cash, right? You could just reallocate your portfolio to names that represent significant value. Okay, significant value, right? I see Jay Goley sent a message. He said Procter and Gamble will lead the way, just like CLX. He wants to look at CLX. Let's take a look. Yeah, Clorox, right? Again, some of these staple names, right? Clorox, Holden here, right? So yeah. So Jay, I agree with that sentiment. Thank you for that message. Okay, so we got a few names here. Amazon, right? Let's do Amazon. I'm letting y'all know Amazon is Amazon is part of the reason why the Qs is looking kind of ghetto right here. We called it out weeks ago that we had an issue with Amazon, right? It's been kind of like a slow tornado. I did set a price target of 3,900 on Amazon. In terms of its valuation, I do believe Amazon is actually undervalued for where it is in comparison to some of the other tech names. But that doesn't matter in terms of like what the stock itself wants to do, right? And Amazon is looking crazy here. We are breaking like multi-month support levels here, right? I mean, multi-year, right? So if you go back here, this is 2021. This is 2020. Yeah, so we haven't been in these levels since June of 2020 here on Amazon, right? And so just a nasty, nasty move. I guess the question is, hey, is it time to buy the dip? The answer is no. Amazon is actually one of the names that are leading us to the downside, right? Yeah. So,
yeah. I was thinking the
Go
same
ahead,
thing.
Go ahead,
Charles.
Megan.
It does not look like it's done. And so while I think this is a great price for it, I have to play what's in front of me. Amazon is one of my all-time favorites because I feel like I can make so much and lose so much. It's just high moving. But and this is crazy, but it almost looks like it wants that 25, 29, 200 EMA on the weekly. So maybe I'm wrong and it won't come down that far, but I don't see any strong support on the weekly before that. So, I mean, if you think you want to, for the person who messaged in Amazon, if you think you want to dabble in that, I would dollar cost average in if that's what you're going to do, or go way farther out on options if that what you're going to do, or potentially sell premium, which we talked about, because I don't think that Amazon is done yet.
Yeah, and again, here's the problem, right? And so, for people who are familiar with like looking at a histogram, right? It's like, light blue is increasing bullish, dark blue is decreasing bullish, red is bearish, yellow is choppy or in between, green is go, right? Yeah. Look at the way Amazon looks here. Look at the shading of the histogram that's being represented on the actual candlestick for the past couple years, right? You've never had anything that looks like this, right? And so this looks really bad. The way Amazon looks to me on the weekly time frame, hey, we had a squeeze fired down on the weekly time frame here, Megan, by the way. There's two squeezes here.
I saw that, and I mean, to me, it looked like there was maybe some support around 3,000 or 29.13, but I mean, we went through that without hesitation, which makes me wonder if the next stop is 26.84 or if it's going to be the 200 EMA.
2,600 is what it looks like to me.
Yep.
Wait, we're not under the 200 yet, the daily?
On the daily, so I was looking at the weekly coming down. On the daily, we are well under the 200.
Oh, yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah, no, on the weekly, that looks like the next stop. There may be one support along the way, but
Right. Okay. Okay. I just had to just make sure. And so, team,
yeah.
I wanna, and thank you so much for mentioning that, Megan. I missed that. Um, Here's something I want to point out to you, team. Right? You guys ever seen these green dotted bars here, and you're wondering, like, Charles, what? Why do you have all these green dotted bars? So these are open gaps that are in the market that are on the particular stock, right? And every time we close a gap, I change it from green to pink, right? So we actually had 2 gaps close this week on the weekly time frame, right? And we've got more gaps to go. They say most gaps close, right? Right? This is Amazon, right? Look at the gaps here on the QQQs. Whoa, oh, this thing. There's something weird. Look at the gaps on the QQQ, team. Look at all these gaps here, right? See all these open gaps here? We've got pandemic era gaps, right? And so, again, we've got some serious problems here. You definitely want to be defensive in this market. You do not want to back up the truck and just buy the dip on everything like you were doing the last 2 years, because J Powell ain't saving you. Okay.
Hey, I was just, Charles, another option.
Go ahead.
If people aren't comfortable with options, if you don't want to move it all to cash, you could take a small position in the SQQQ, and then just watch that carefully. So that's the inverse or the shorting of the Qs without having to play an option. So again, just trying to come up with different trading options for this environment. Again, selling.
Okay. Megan, I think we lost you again.
Yeah, I was getting another call.
Okay.
SQQ, dollar cost averaging, selling premium, I mean, different things like that. But anyways, if we haven't mentioned, you could play the VIX, calls on the VIX, because we haven't talked about that, but that is making some major highs right now. So maybe we should look at the VIX, but also SQQ if you want to play that downside.
Yep. And I do want to mention, let me just go back to SQQ really quickly. Team, these things are meant to hedge, right? You're not supposed to get in these things and sit in these things forever, right? Because you do have significant decay that these things will experience. And as time goes down, these things are kind of built to kind of go to zero, right? And so, yeah, just, you're supposed to be here for a good time, not a long time, right? And so I do want to put out that disclaimer. We had somebody who actually misheard something that was on the stage like a week or two ago, and he kind of made a big speech about how you're not supposed to sit in these things and blah, blah, blah. And like, yeah, we know that, dude, okay? But again, I'm just putting out that disclaimer. SQQ, anything to do with the VIX or VIX options or UVXY or whatever is out there, because I actually don't play in these instruments, right? I know that there's TZA, right? There's TZA as well, okay, which is a short on the IWM. I believe. Wait, is it? Yeah, small caps. Yep. TZA is a short on the IWM, right? It's a nice little move there. Again, these things you're not meant to sit in these leveraged assets like that, right? And so just be very, 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 very careful with what you're doing there. But yeah, it could be good. It could be good. All right. So next ticker on the list here, we got NVDA. Let's take a look. Not NVIDIA, but AMD was looking pretty defensive today. AMD was actually green or flat for the most of the day, and towards the end of the day, just like with the rest of the market, it's going down. But team, this looks ugly. Again, there's a gigantic gap here, right? That was closed on AMD, and so yeah, AMD looks like it wants to go right back to the breakout level of 228, and so I would look there because this was a harsh rejection here off of the highs today, right? That's a nasty rejection, right? So for me, it looks like NVIDIA, excuse me. It looks like NVIDIA wants to go back, right? And test this breakout level at 230 or 228. So that's what I have on NVIDIA. Again, not very good, but it is what it is. Again, here's something to look forward to, right? You see that we are kind of running cold on the RSI on the daily time frame, or daily time frame on NVIDIA, right? So it may not be today, may not be tomorrow, may not even be next week, but at some point, okay, I would say within the next 3 weeks, we should get a nice little bounce in NVIDIA for sure. And if you look at the Qs here, Qs is ice cold, okay? Qs, again, 26 on the RSI here, so pretty cold on the daily RSI. We haven't been this cold in, that's the year time frame. Let's look at the 2 year. Yeah, the last time we were this cold on the daily RSI, okay, of the Qs was during the crash, right? The pandemic crash. We have not been this cold on the daily QQQ RSI since the pandemic crash, right? And so, again, once you get this cold on a major index, you know, you could start to expect that at some point you will get sort of reversion to the mean, some kind of bounce back, right? And so I close some of my short positions today and yesterday, and as we get closer to some of these weekly support levels, you know, I'm actually not looking to be bearish, right? I mean, if we have to take bearish scalps, we will intraday, but in terms of like anything swing related or, you know, wanting to have a bias, my bias here around these levels are actually more to the long side, right? And so, again, not financial advice. Speaking of my own recognizance, you know, assume all risk of anything, you know, you guys assume all risk for anything that you hear on this show. But, you know, I'm talking about what I'm looking to personally do. And I'm looking for dip buy opportunities in a market like this where, again, the RSIs are getting very cold. I'm looking at some possible retracement to the mean. It doesn't mean that it needs to happen, okay? Because I do believe we will, you know, get down here to even 320 Qs on the right circumstance, right? But we don't just go straight down, right? At least not until the world is getting ready to end, okay? But at some point, we will get a bounce, okay? Even if you look at the weekly time frame here, okay, the weekly time frame on the Qs, right? We have not been this low again since the pandemic. We have not been this cold in the RSI. This is the lowest we've been since the pandemic, right? And the price is all the way up here, right? So even if we come down even 5% more on the Qs, I feel like we could definitely make a higher low from here. Okay, so that's the Qs. And we have one more ticker, and that's going to be AEO. Let's take a quick look.
Charles, I was on a call. I don't know if you did NVIDIA because that was one of them too.
Yep, we wrapped up NVIDIA. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, NVIDIA looks like it wants to get to the what's that? The 328, 330 level. It was a harsh you could call it a shooting star. It had that shooting star pattern, right, with the skinny wick with a bottom cross. And so, yeah, it doesn't look very good. American Eagle Outfitters. Again, retailers, okay, I would look at that as a little bit more defensive. Right now, the MACD is kind of middling, right, which is good. The thing looks like it wants to kind of go sideways, but again, today was a tough day here in the market, and I would look to start establishing some kind of channel here, right? Let's see. Kind of violated today, right? But, you know, again, today was a very special day. We just kind of sold off, and that's fine, team. You know, these support levels, you know, they're not made of iron, right? They could be a little malleable, you know. You could go sideways for a day or two, and then, you know, just test an area, and then you wake up one day, you gap up 2%, and you're right at the support, right? And so, American Eagles looks okay here, okay? It's just under the channel here, so I would give this like a day or two to see if we could get back above 21, 23 right there. And if we could get above this level, 21.23 or 21.50, okay, then I would look to maybe start nibbling at something, right? And team, let me tell you something. If you're unsure of what to do, guess what? You don't have to do anything. You don't have to trade. No one says that you have to trade, right? You guys could always just sit in your hands and don't do anything at all, right? Or especially if you want to do something but you're not really sure what to do, just add some shares, average down. Okay, if you're long-term biased a particular stock, something that you like, team, just add shares. I did that today. Look at Tilray. Added some Tilray today. Added some Uber today.
To be fair, I think you add Tilray and Uber every paycheck.
You know what? Dag nabbit, you ratted me out, Megan. You ratted me out.
You've been DCAing into that for a year.
Literally, let me tell you something. I haven't shared this story in a long time, but I'll share the story now, right? I'll share the story now. Okay. Let me see who's up in here. I don't think we got any other members of the community here right now this second, right? No. Okay. So Megan, do you remember when you first joined Brooklyn Traders? Do you remember me giving you a phone call?
I mean, you call me like every day, so I do remember you.
The first phone call,
welcoming me into Brooklyn Traders.
Okay, very good. So team,
and figuring out like who I am and what my goals are, and
there we go. See, so team, for every member who joins our community, right? I actually personally give them a phone call. And you're like, Charles, are you gonna call hundreds of people? Yes, I will. I come from Wall Street, right, where literally, one day they gave me a book as thick as the Yellow Pages, and they were like, "Yeah, dial for dollars." You remember that, Megan? Dialing for dollars.
I do.
Exactly.
And
so
it's true. Like you do. It's not just me. Like, so maybe some of you see me on stage with Charles. You're like, "Oh, you're friends with him. That's why he calls you." Nope. Before I knew anything about Mr. Becco, he called me to welcome me to the family, to figure out what my goals were, what my style was. If I didn't know, did I have the training classes? Did I log in and everything made sense? Like, really wanted me. And I don't know if y'all know this, Brooklyn Traders cost next to nothing. So there's no way that the time value is worth it for him to call me, other than his genuine interest in the members and their financial well-being. So Charles, sorry to take over, but for me, that's the truth. Yes, now I feel like we're friends and we talk more often, but before I knew you from the Man on the Moon, you were calling to check on me, to make sure I was okay, to make sure I was taking the classes, to make sure I wasn't getting into trouble. Actually, you still call me to make sure I'm not getting into trouble because I do that, but so genuine and so caring and so loving and so wanting your community to be successful, not because of your reputation, but because you truly care about these people and you're trying to do God's work, and we love you for that.
Oh, man. You gonna make this black man blush. How am I gonna turn red?
I love it.
All right. No, but thank you so much, Megan. So I'm gonna tell y'all a story, right? It's gonna be about Dogecoin. Okay. Now, when we got started with Brooklyn Traders, I think I like threw up a Facebook post and was like, "Hey, I'm gonna be doing this," and then immediately I had like 20 people sign up from like the Brooklyn Traders Facebook group, because we started as a Facebook group, right? And and I remember like calling folks back then. Like I think Bitcoin just started to wiggle, right? I think Bitcoin was sitting at like 8,000, and I was looking at the charts and I was like, yeah, I think Bitcoin wants to go over 10,000, right? And I figured if Bitcoin could get over 10,000, I think we could get to 15 and then to 20. And when I looked at what was going on at the time, I noticed that Dogecoin was sitting at 0.003 cents, and I was like, I had a thesis, and my thesis was, I think if Bitcoin could break above 10 and it gets to 13 and it gets to 15, once it breaks like 10, gets to 13, I figured that it could rally to 20, right, and retest the highs. And I was seeing things in the chart. Actually, instead of just you guys just sitting here just looking at nothing, right? Let's look at the chart of Bitcoin, so you guys could I could maybe tell you in fake real time, what the methodology was back then, right? Let's go to the weekly time frame, Yeah, it was way back here. So if you guys are looking at my chart, you look at this Bitcoin chart, right? There's lots of gunshots and explosions happening here, right? So team, I have been tracking. You see these levels here? So when I'm talking to you about market phases, team, Bitcoin was in a phase 1 market phase, okay? And we broke out of the phase 1 and we went immediately into the phase 2, right? So right around here, between 7 and 8,000, once we kind of like, looked like we were going to break out, and then we had like a weekly squeeze as well, and we broke above 10, 11. I said, man, this thing is going to go. And Megan, let me tell you something. Every single member that I called for the first 3 or 4 months that we were in operation, I said, listen, guys, listen to this. This is what I want you to do. And this was kind of very different than your phone call, you know, because I literally like commanded people. Like again, and it was probably not proper for me to do, but I was like, listen, how much money you got? You got $500? You got $1,000? You got $1,500? This is what you do. If you believe in cryptocurrency, right? If you are more conservative, I want you to take half your money and throw it into Ethereum. I think Ethereum was like $300 at that time. I said, if you want to be, you know, super defensive and, you know, more conservative, put half your crypto dollars into Ethereum, take 25%, put in Litecoin, and put 25% into Dogecoin. Now, if you are more aggressive, right, I actually told folks to take half their crypto dollars and throw half of it into Dogecoin, 25% into Ethereum, and 25% into Litecoin. Okay, I think I told this to about 40 people. Okay, and again, the thesis was that as Bitcoin's price will go up, people will want to get a cheap coin, right? They want to they do want to participate in Bitcoin's run, but they may not be able to afford a Bitcoin. Now, all you crypto maximalists, yeah, I understand. You can buy a fractional percentage of Bitcoin. I get that, right? You could buy fractionals, right? You could go buy a piece of a Bitcoin, right? You don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin, but in people's minds, right? They like cheap stuff, you know? So guess which coin was the cheapest coin on Robinhood, Megan? Guess which coin?
Was it Dogecoin?
It was Dogecoin at 0.03 cents. Okay? So, like the first 30 or 40 members of Brooklyn Traders made the entire bag. Okay? At least those who held. Because Dogecoin, you know, pumped from... Because originally people were trying to pump Dogecoin from 0.03 cents to 1 penny. And then they wanted to pump it to like 2 pennies, right? And so originally... It happened in like a weekend, right? Dogecoin made it to a penny. Then in like 1 weekend, it went from a penny to like 5 and 7 cents, and it was wild, right? And then, you know, I know a bunch of folks tapped out there. I know some folks still held on to some. And then, as you know, I think that was like sometime in October, November that happened of 2020. And then in early 2021, was it February or something? And that's when, you know, Mark Cuban and what's his name, Elon Musk and those guys started going crazy, right? And then they pumped Dogecoin to freaking 70 cents, right? And so back then, if you had like $500, $500 at 0.03 cents would have bought you almost 300,000 Dogecoins, right? And so one of the reasons why I actually keep adding Tilray, right, is because I have the same level of conviction, right? And why am I doing this? Team, okay? As long as state by state by state by state keeps legalizing marijuana, it'll come to a point where the federal government is going to be like, okay, all these states are making marijuana, making money hand over fist. We're going to want some of this marijuana money, okay? And I think the first thing they're going to do is decriminalize marijuana and then go to... I don't even think they need to even make it legal federally. They just need to just decriminalize it and then provide a way for those marijuana companies to bank or be a part of the banking system. They do that, and I think that these marijuana stocks are going to get super hot again, right? And so, again, this is a nice long-term theory that I have. I'm telling everybody publicly, right? And so I'm letting y'all know what the strategy is. All 37 of y'all up in here, okay? Again, the same level of conviction I had for Dogecoin, same level of conviction I have for Tilray, and I have 10 times the same conviction of Uber, okay? Okay, just think about it, right? And I think, I don't know how many times I told y'all this, but think about this, right? Think about it. When you say I need to get a taxi cab, you don't say you need to get a taxi cab. You say you need to go get an Uber, right? Even when you call a Lyft, you say, I need to get an Uber, okay? Uber is part of our lexicon, okay? It's like we know what an Uber is, right? It's like you had to add a new definition to Webster's dictionary, right? And so for me, yeah. If you ever see me leave Brooklyn Traders, it's probably to go work for Uber so I could take half my compensation or all of my compensation in shares. Okay? So I have the same level of conviction of Uber. And the last time I had that level of conviction, it was with Facebook. You know? And for everybody who know, I bought Facebook the day it came out. Okay? I remember it was like $33. Okay? And I remember Facebook going from $33 to $17, and the guys on CNBC were trashing like, oh, what is it? What is it? How are they going to monetize? And that's what they were saying. How are they going to monetize? How are they going to monetize this, right? And let me see. It's way... Yeah, here it is. Yep, see? Yep, 33 bucks right around here, right? And then it went all the way down to 18, and I had the same level of conviction, okay? And then y'all see what Facebook's doing today, okay? So... Okay, I didn't mean to go all of there, okay, but I generally do want to help the community, you know, and I do take the time to answer the community's questions. I'm very thankful to say that I don't even have a missed message on any social media platform. I do take the time to do that personally, either myself or a member of the team, and so Uber and Tilray are things that we're very bullish long term on. Each money that I see through the door, I siphon a little bit away and throw it into my long term conviction. You know, I've been talking a whole lot, Megan. You better take over.
Yeah, we gotta get one more thing in before we close out tonight, because it's Friday and people want to get going. But somebody on the back end asked me a particular question about DraftKings, so I'm going to answer with this. They have a cost basis of $35 on DraftKings. We do not tell you what you should or shouldn't do with DraftKings. But what we can do is pull up the charts and, sorry, I'm getting messages, and look at where it's at with you. So they're wondering, should we average down? You know, what should we do? I'm in at 35 on DraftKings.
Okay.
So, Charles, let's pull up the charts and let's look at DraftKings with them.
Yep, I'm already there. All right, so here's what I like about DraftKings, right? You see a clear bullish divergence on this RSI, and it's clear as day, right? So what does that mean? That means our DraftKings had an RSI of 16 on the day when DraftKings was $26. Now DraftKings is down to 1950, but the RSI is at 26, right? That's called a bullish divergence, right? Okay. So you guys could Google bullish divergence on the RSI, right? There it is. It's clear as day, right? Again, price goes this way, price goes down, RSI goes up. Okay? Not financial advice, but if you're bullish DraftKings, I'll be adding here. Not financial advice. Assume that everything you hear on stage will get you clapped. DraftKings is part of the Brooklyn Traders long-term portfolio, and I'm letting you know I'll be adding more. Again, that I'm not telling y'all what to do. I'm not telling you what to do. Assume that anything you hear here will get you clapped. I'm just talking about what I would do. I'm telling you how I look at the chart. I'm telling you what my conviction is. Being very clear as to, any kind of conflicts we may have. It's part of the long-term portfolio, and we do like DraftKings. We do like the space. Go ahead, Megan.
I was just going to say, from my perspective, looking at it, and I am nowhere near a chart master like Charles, but looking at the IPO, which wasn't that long ago, we had a low of 17.6. That's the lowest it's been. We're not that far away from there. And looking at the histogram, it looks like we've got a little bit deepening red this week. So it's possible that it might try to come down to that 17.6 or whatever where it load out when it IPO'd, and then bounce. But yeah, if it was me, I would probably average down if I was long and had conviction in DraftKings as well. Because I think that if you're at 35, I mean, that's not terrible, kind of sucks, but I would probably average down because then you'll have more shares to ride it back up if it was me.
Yeah, and yeah, again, team, you know, you have to do what's best for you and your portfolio, right? And so and also I do want to make mention that it's also not uncommon, okay? It's not uncommon for a stock to dip under its IPO price, right? Again, I just showed you Facebook. I'm sure a lot of you guys, and again, I'm sure the majority of people here, well, I shouldn't say the majority, I don't know, but I'm sure a big chunk of the people here, right, was not trading in the stock market, right, that long to know what Facebook's IPO price was and how low it actually did go. I was there, okay. Literally, again, Facebook went from like the mid 30s to like $18. You know what I mean? So, you know, right now it's still, let me see it. It's just, yeah, it's still hovering above its IPO price, all right? So, or, oh no, did it just dip below it? Hold on. That's the weekly. Let me see here. Now I'm gonna have to stretch it. It's right around its IPO price. I could say that. I don't have to be very persnickety. It looks like it's, no, it's still higher. Yeah. Yeah, just like you said.
It looks a little bit higher. It looks like the low candle of that week, of the IPO week, was 17.6. But yeah, it could absolutely go below that. I don't know if it's done coming down yet, but I would still, if it was me and I was long it, which I'm not saying I am, I actually don't own DraftKings, I probably would average down versus selling here.
Right. And also, team, I guess if we're gonna close out, right, let's close up with this, right? Let me put these two charts on here, right? And these are probably the two charts that matter the most, right? Like, you could forget everything, forget all the tickers, right? QQQ and SPY, right? Most stocks are gonna follow what these two indices are doing, right? And so, yeah, okay. These guys don't look fantastic, and you can see. So, Megan, would you believe that we closed 1, 2, 3 gaps? We closed 3 gaps this week, right? And you see how many gaps we have left over here? Okay, we closed 3 gaps this week.
I mean, for me, again, I'm rubbing my hands together like a maniacal evil genius wanting to buy this. So I'm excited about it. I'll add to that the Qs and the SPY. I would add the VIX to that. I put that on my always watch list as well.
Yep. And yeah, you have to know what these guys are doing, right? Because if these guys are not behaving properly, more than likely you're gonna have a bad time, right? And so, oh wait, let me close this as well because this also closed, right? Yeah. Okay. But yeah, you know, this should be a nice little support level here at 436 on the SPY. This should be pretty solid here on this support level, but again, just watch out, be careful. Assume that you could potentially get clapped. Okay, if we could still open up bearish next week, but it doesn't mean that we have to stay that way. Definitely be careful going both ways, right? Okay, look both ways while you're crossing the street, because again, it can very well get ugly. Megan, any questions here before we wrap up?
I've got no further questions. I just want to remind people, make sure you distinguish your short-term trading account from your long-term trading account. So when we say that, you know, Charles is scooping up Uber and Tilray and whatnot, that's going to be in his long-term portfolio. That isn't like a swing trade or a scalp. And so when we're looking at dip buys, me personally, I'm looking at my long-term account. And when I'm talking about maybe SQQ, how many Qs did I say? I don't know, whatever. I'm looking at probably a very short-term option. So again, be willing to understand the risk that you're able to take and whether that's a term or a short-term play. So just be conscientious of that in this environment.
All right. So team, again, thanks. And everybody, God bless. Take care. Take care, everybody.
Retro.
Hey, if you have not joined yet, consider joining the community. BrooklynTraders.net. BrooklynTraders.net. Definitely hit me up on the back end. Again, if you have not joined the community yet, consider it. We appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen.
Purchase your tracks